Hi and welcome everyone to our Lexforum tonight. So we will start our forum in 5 more minutes. In the meantime, you can call all the others law students or the other friends to join our live right now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To all panels, deans, lecturers, and my fellow friends. Hi everyone, my name is Nurhana Badaria binti Abdul Muttalib, and I will be moderating this Lex forum tonight. Before that, let us start our forum tonight with Umul Furqan Al-Fatihah. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank to all participants that are attending our Lex Forum tonight. Thank you for joining our forum today on a beautiful Friday night. I promise your time will be worth it because the variety of knowledge and future supplies that you will get tonight. So, our issue for today's forum is legal career post COVID-19 pandemic. Before we begin, I have few reminders for all participants. But actually, it's just two reminders. First of all, today's session is being recorded to be available for viewing post conference. Second, if you have any questions for the panels, please use the chat box for panelists to answer after this session. So, next, let me introduce all of you to our panelists for tonight. So, the first panelist, our beautiful Miss Amelia Soraya binti Aminuddin, partner under the Knowledge Management, Research and Training, as well as the Intellectual Property Practice Group at Zurafi and Partners Law Firm. She obtained her Bachelor of Laws degree from the International Islamic University of Malaysia in 2012. Next, our second panel is Sir Muhammad Hisham bin Marzuki, Socialiter Advocate at Merces Baharum Suhaimi and Hisham. He graduated from International Islamic University of Malaysia with Bachelor of Laws LLB in 2013 and Bachelor of Laws LLBS Sharia in 2014. Currently, Tuan Muhammad Hisham is furthering his studies in Master Degree Program in Commercial Laws at University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. So thank you for our panelists. We are very honored that our panel today is willing to accept the invitation and provide some knowledge to all our students, not only law students, but perhaps students from the other course who come to join us tonight. So before we go straight away to the forum, to kick off this event, I would like to invite Madam Farahizah bin Abdul Jalal Bakri, Head of Department of Legal Studies, to give her opening remarks. This floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, our MC, Sister Nurhanan Badaria. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to open tonight's program. As a warm welcome, I bid to all fellow lecturers, committee members, students, and our guest speaker, of course, Brother Muhammad Hisham Marzuki, together with Sister Amelia Suraya binti Aminuddin, both advocates and solicitor, High Court of Malaya. Welcome. Alhamdulillah, we all gathered here today for a very special program which is called Lexforum 1.0, the future of legal career post-COVID-19 pandemic. I believe all of you are very excited. It is such a very interesting topic to talk about, and I don't want to waste more time. So let's have, and I hope every participants and all my dear beloved students will give full attention and participation for tonight's program, inshallah. May Allah bless the program from the start to the end, and last, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome and thank you, Madam, for the very kind and amazing opening remarks. So, guys, let's mix the words, Madam, just now as a start for us to stay focused in our forum today and collect as much information as possible so that our forum will be ready for you guys. So, without further ado, we will start our forum today with the first question. I will give it to Sir Hisham. Can?
Of course, my dear MC Sister Hanan.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So,
based on
based on
Malaysia's chief
Malaysia's chief
statistician, Datuk Seri
statistician,
Dr.
Datuk Seri
Muhammad
Dr.
Uzair
Muhammad
Mahdi
Uzair Mahdi
said that the recorded rate was due to the implementation of the full movement control order PKP has caused unemployment in Malaysia rose again to 768,000 people, or at rate 4.8% last June, according to the latest labor force statistic by the Department of Statistics Malaysia. I believe this PKP affects all parties. However, my question to Sir Muhammad Isham is, what is the current situation of the legal profession during COVID-19 pandemic, and what do we as a student expect from it?
Okay, thank you very much, my sister Hanan, MC for today. And then Sister Emilia Suraya, which is my joint panelist today. And then first of all, I would like to thank and congratulate the committee of the Lex Forum, okay, I think this is the we call it as the most waiting program by our brothers and sisters from the matriculation we call it preparation. And then I would also like to give my sincere appreciation to lecturers, okay, my brothers, Sir Ridwan, okay, and then all the we call we call it as main power behind the program and this program. Okay, so the question actually have two kind of segment. Okay, which I got from the question by the MC. First, what is the current situation, and the second is what is the situation as a student can expect from it. Okay, so COVID-19 we call as the most unprecedented situation, okay, where it affects all the parties in whatever profession and whatever background of employment, okay, especially for our today focus is on legal profession during COVID-19, okay. I'm here. I'm not an expert in in whatever the administration issue for the legal or whatever the setting of the uh, we call it as the running of the system. But I'm here as sharing my knowledge and sharing my experience on what was happened during the past year during the MCO1, MCO2, and then carry on until now. Okay, for me, when we look back at the situation, okay, the situation in one side it gives advantage to the development of the technology which is can be insert and can be adopted in the legal profession. Okay, and then on the other hand, it give we call it as a backlog of cases in terms of the running of the cases for the trial, for the hearing in the court. Okay, the reason is because even though the civil system is running in the MCO period time, but some of the cases were conducted between the consensus of the parties through online medium. Okay, whereas for example there are three parties: the judge, the plaintiff, or the defendant. If one of the parties is not agreeable to proceed with the online version or online trial or online hearing, and there is no further hearing on the case or the trial, especially on the civil case. Okay, so that is on the we call it on the disadvantage. But from the COVID-19, we learned that we must start act and we must start to learn and we must gain whatever the knowledge, especially in related with the technology. Okay, because technology is not isolated. Okay, it must be carry on with the legal system itself. Okay, for example, since 2015, if I'm not mistaken, the system of filing for the court papers has been using the e-filing system. Okay, it changed the previous manual system, which is you come to the court and then you file the court papers whatsoever. Now everything is changed. Okay, and then we must do in electronic. We must do in filing system through the online system. There's no more manual version. Okay, so there is on the situation of the legal profession currently is happening. And then until now, I believe, even though right now I'm in typing today, because I just finished my 3 days trial since Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we just conducted the 3rd day by today via Zoom. Okay, via Zoom trial where our expert is from KL. Okay, so I have to equip myself, and every lawyer also should equip themselves with this kind of technology. Okay, I think that is for the first part of the question. And for the second part question given was what can we as a student expect from it? first of all, as a student, you must learn as much as knowledge you can. Okay, you must absorb whatever the skills, you must absorb whatever the we call it as whatever the knowledge which is available in the faculty or in the opportunity given in the study time. Okay, of course it must come with cost. Okay, for having with that, you must also, you can expect the world is become quicker than before. Okay, so you need to learn more development, you need to learn more technologies to equip yourself with the current situation. For example, I saw one of the situation where the one senior lawyer, even though he's good in his we call it as litigation skills, but due to his inefficiency in handling technology, caused him a lot of trouble and headache during the trial. Because when he conducted the trial, you need to show to the court or to the judge which paragraph or which evidence you are showing or sharing in the screen, which is using the tablet or using the computer. Unfortunately, that senior lawyer was unable to do that, and then it is caused another, stress and headache to him, even though he's good in giving his speech or whatever the submission before the judge. Okay, so we can learn from that it must be come together knowledge in legal and together knowledge in technology, which is must come hand in hand. Okay, so I think that's for now for the round one. Then I return back to our beloved sister Hanan for this next question.
Um, Thank you, Sir Hisham, for a very solid and concise answer. For a little summarize for what Sir Hisham said just now. So we as a student, we must use our time now wisely to learn as much knowledge as possible with just not legal studies, but also the technology with the revolution of this world because it goes quickly without our realization point. Okay. So we move forward to the second question to Miss Amelia. Miss Amelia, we always wonder what is the best way to deal with this COVID-19 disaster, right? So, my question is, what are the challenges faced by the legal practitioner during COVID-19 pandemic and how are they coping with it?
Okay, so basically, I would answer it in two tiers. One is internally, that means within the firm, and one is externally, right outside of the firm. So I'll start with the external, what Sir Hisham actually mentioned just now, which was the problem with senior lawyers, I suppose, right? I think as mentioned by our other panelist, he mentioned that technology was a problem, right? So senior lawyers, they were so used to meeting clients, telling them what to do, how to do this, how to do that, and not being able to do that was a problem, especially for senior lawyers. They don't know how to use technology. Same goes to court because it's done online, right? So most of the time we see them, they're so used to being animated in court. So, a loud voice, hands here, flaying here and there in order to convince the judge. But then they're restricted when it comes to online. So I believe that's one of the problems for senior lawyers, not so much the junior lawyers, I noticed. And for internally, is business continuity. So during the MCO, everything came to a halt, like complete stop, right? It was unprecedented times. Companies, businesses, courts at that point in time, government offices were also unable to operate. It was closed. Nobody knew what to do. So this also means that no income for the firm, not completely no income, but less income. You can't go to court, so you can't charge client to go to court. You don't have meetings, so you can't charge clients for the meetings as well. And then some documents were also left in office, right? Sometimes the physical documents. So these were all the challenges that we faced during the MCO. So how did we overcome that, right? So for this, we had to make sure that we set up a technological infrastructure within the firm so that we are all able to work remotely and maintain productivity. So this would include having online document management system, right? So that means you save everything on the cloud. Everyone is able to work on the document together, to save the document, able to retrieve it from anywhere just with proper internet connection, right? And then also when it comes to Teams collaboration or communication platforms like Microsoft Teams, for example. So that would allow us to have video conferencing, group chats, document sharing and collaboration. So all this, we had to make sure that it was there, right? So for Zorafic, what we did, we anticipated that this would happen. There were rumors already that there was going to be a complete shutdown, a movement control order. So what we did was we had trainings for the whole firm 2 days, exactly 2 days before the MCO was announced. So throughout the 2 days, we actually gave a back-to-back training for the whole firm on how to use the platforms, right? Especially Teams at that point in time. So that really, really helped. Now, the problem is not all law firms or lawyers in general can afford these legal systems, right? This technology. So they had to find other alternatives, like maybe Google Documents, which can also be used as a sharing platform. Zoom, right, is also free, up to I think 45 minutes, right? So there are other alternatives that they can adopt. Sorry. So yeah, fortunately for other law firms, it paved the way to ensure they adopted better technological infrastructure. Okay, and then next would be we also had this problem, particularly for corporate real estate or conveyancing practice. Right, there was one issue where whether or not virtual signing, which is basically whether witnessing signatures via video conferencing for conveyancing related documents was allowed, right? So the wordings in the presence of was very vague. The law was very vague on that, and nobody really knew what to do. I don't believe there was really a solution. But Isham, if you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there was ever a solution to that. So a lot of the lawyers were still kind of doing it online. Some were not keen on it. Some just proceeded anyway. But thankfully now the MCO is somewhat lifted, right? And there's easing of restrictions and regulations. We don't have this problem anymore. We can have clients over to the firm. Right now is 100% capacity actually. For legal for the law firms, we can actually work 100% capacity, as long as we're 80% fully vaccinated, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, so these are some or the main issues that we as lawyers face during the pandemic. Brother Isham, if you want to add on to anything, feel free. Maybe on the litigation side.
No problem. Okay, I like the way you address and share with our brother and sister. Okay, earlier before regarding the signing issue. Okay, because COVID-19 pandemic has given law to develop. Okay, which having those issue. Okay, the signing issue is now even the bar council has issued the regulation and the guidelines on this, and then I think some of the cases has been brought before the court, okay, to determine on that issue. And then I believe that the law develops as well during this pandemic. Okay, so as you as a student, I believe you must come out, especially during this COVID issue, emergency law issue, okay, political issue, and then it comes with the constitutional issue, so on. Okay, so later we discuss. Okay, so that's it.
Wow, thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham, for the great explanation related to the issue right not just now. So I believe that this PKP had affected not just a very setiap lapisan in our society. So next, we move on to the third question, which is back to the Sir Hisham. What are the skills we need to equip ourselves so that we can become a successful legal practitioner, especially after this pandemic?
Okay, thank you, Sister Hanan. Okay, our brother and sister. Okay, first we must know that law is not something which is a rocket science thing. Okay, you must clear from there. Okay, this is not same like astronaut going to to aerospace doing this kind of thing and this kind of that. Not all can people do, but law is something when you can read, you can calculate, and then you can understand and you can hear properly and precisely. I think it will help you to become a lawyer, or we call it as practitioner. Okay, I would say that I'm not the best, student during that university time. Okay, even though I'm in the same class with our Sir Ridwan, but I believe he's far more better than me. Okay, I must admit that. Okay, but when I come into practice, I learned that some of the skills we can acquire and some we must we call it as naturally have. Okay, because of the skills we have and then we can acquire, it require us to do a lot of commitment, persistency, and then our diligence. Okay, on the to acquire those skills and those we call knowledge. Okay, so what as a student I can share with you, you can equip to become a successful legal practitioner, even though I'm still young, which is in terms of years of practice compared to our sister Amelia. Okay, but you can first you must have the kind of basically you have to speed reading skills, ability. Okay, you must have a good writing skill. Okay, you're able to speak even you are not so good in language, but as long as the other party can understand you, it is fine. Okay, communication is all about understanding of the words of the communication. You don't have to be British slang, American slang. There is only accessory and cosmetic issue. There's no problem because there is not our mother tongue language. Okay, and then you also must have sharp listening. Okay, deep analyzing, extensive legal research, which when you come to the subject legal, legal research, or we call it prepare for your research thing on library issue. Okay, and then you can learn how to do research. Okay, and then you need to know what's the procedure in law, because it will affect your case in court later if you want to be a good practitioner. For example, if you want to file a case against or you want to start a claim against a thing, you must know which mode of commencement is relevant in this situation. Okay, having that, whether you want to go with originating summon, or you want to go with petition, or you want to go you start with writ of summon. Okay, that you must know the procedure of the law. If you from the beginning it is wrong and it's incorrect, and then it will jeopardize your case. Okay, it will affect your case. Okay, that's why I'm saying that those kind of we call it as values are important. Okay, and then you must also in terms of emotional or spiritual, you must have ability to control your emotions and anger. Okay, because sometimes I saw in the Facebook. Okay, this is just random view when I scroll in the Facebook. Some of the lawyers just make their diary by posting in their Facebook saying, okay, this client, okay, and then sharing what happened to the court and the judge. Okay, it's just kind of diary every day, sharing with the public. It is it is free for him to, or the lawyer to express, but the thing is I want to highlight is you must control emotion, control your language. Okay, whenever you share with the public, to give that this kind of thing is very exclusive, and this kind of thing must be comprehend by the people which is in good understanding and good we call it mirror. Okay, it doesn't have to be something which is very bad impression to other party, because as at the end of the day, okay, these kind of values are important to develop how you're thinking, to develop how your projection of your legal practice. Okay, Sister Hanan.
Okay, thank you, Sir Hisham.
Sister, can I
That
just add on a little bit to that?
yes,
On top of that, I think what Brother Hisham mentioned was 100% accurate, right? There is the IQ, which is the legal knowledge and the legal skills, and as well as the EQ, right? So EQ in terms of emotional intelligence. So the ability to understand and manage your emotions and the emotions of others, right? So that includes communication skills, negotiation skills, social skills, relationship management, conflict management. This also pours over to marketing skills, right? Because I realized that a lot of lawyers, they don't know how to do this. They're very bad at this. More often than not, they know how to do the work. They're smart. Of course, all lawyers are smart, right? You have to have a certain degree of IQ in order for you to do law, right? And graduate. So when they can do the work, they lack the EQ or marketing skills. So you cannot sustain a law firm or get clients if you don't have marketing skills, right? So marketing skills is also important. Business and management skills is also important. Leadership skills is also important. If you have all of this, then I would say you would probably, for sure, I would guarantee you that you would be a successful legal practitioner in the long run. That's all. Thank you.
Agree with that. I second that opinion.
Okay, thank you for Sir Hisham and Miss Amelia. So I will conclude from Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. We have to have we start we need to start enhance our social skill in marketing skill, leadership, and of course our IQ and EQ, which is EQ is very important as a lawyer. We should not apa? We should not mendedahkan we are our anger side to the society, but we should act wisely as a lawyer. Okay, thank you for Sir Hisham and Miss Amelia. Next, proceed for the next questions. For Miss Amelia, how to develop skills needed to become a successful legal practitioner, especially after the pandemic?
Okay, this is actually a very, very good question. I guess what you define as successful is being good at what you do, right? So, number one, I would say exactly what Brother Hisham mentioned is work on your legal knowledge. So, how do you do that? How do you develop these skills? One, you read up on general or legal issues, like what Brother Hisham mentioned during the MCO. There were a lot of laws that came into force, right? A lot of laws developing during these unprecedented times. There was the proclamation of emergency. So, what were the repercussions of that? So, all these you have to know being a lawyer, because it may or may not affect your client, right? And you, as a lawyer, people will look up to you to find out. So, what is the repercussion of this proclamation of emergency? So, you look at the acts, you look at the Constitution. What does it say? So read up on newspapers, read up on articles. You can also attend online courses. There are so many available. If you check out LinkedIn, right, it's just a gazillion there, which is absolutely free. You just need to invest some of your time to go through the courses, and then you'll get that online certification as well. There are also a lot of free webinars or talks hosted by law firms. So even like Zorafiq and a lot of other law firms, during the MCO, we needed to engage the public, right? Be it clients or even the public. We hosted a lot of law webinars, right? Webinars, talks, clubhouse sessions. These were some of the things that we had during the MCO, especially on labor law issues at that point in time, because it was the thing. And then you can also subscribe to, like, for example, Zorafiq, we have a knowledge center. So under this knowledge center, we have articles, newsletters, legal news, legislation updates, you name it. Everything that has to do with knowledge when it comes to legal, it's there. COVID, anything that's related to COVID issues, announcements, they're all there. So find the equivalent of that for other law firms. Check out their LinkedIn. That would be the best platform, because it's a professional platform, right? So check out all these law firms, LinkedIn, follow them, subscribe to them. Then you get all these updates just like that. You don't have to search for it. In fact, most of the time, you probably get emails coming. Just all you have to do is just open your email, take time to read through it. And then there are also webinars offered by Bar Council, right? Most of them have a very small fee, maybe 30 ringgit. Sometimes if it's 3-day course, then maybe it would probably be 100 ringgit plus. So if you don't mind spending the money to learn a little bit on that particular subject, go ahead. So number two is tomorrow's lawyers, which is basically all of you, right? You not only need a degree, you also have to have business leadership, tech, and soft skills. Exactly what myself and Brother Hisham mentioned just now. So attend digital trainings, upskill yourselves. Actually, very, very important. Upskill yourself. Like I mentioned, free courses available on LinkedIn. These are the focal point that you have to have in order to develop professionally. And number three is seek experience. Nothing beats experience, honestly. Internships. You experience how a law firm really, really works, right? It's nothing like what you learn right now. Legal questions won't be compartmentalized. Like, for example, if you're learning on foundation, right? So foundation will be contract and tort law, right? So it's not, the questions are not going to be just specifically only contract law or specifically only tort law. There will probably be some litigation elements there, some probably real estate, some labor law issues. So there's gonna be a variety. So when you go to a law firm, you experience what it's like, you understand how it works and the research and how they run the firm. That would add value to you. And a lot of the students that come to Zurafik, when I speak to them, they always say it really is not what I expected, which is true, which is very, very true. So having experience is definitely an added bonus. In fact, if you do well, right, at a law firm during your internship, and you make a good impression on the partners, on the lawyers, it quite frankly, you will probably already have a job when you leave your degree, once you finish your degree, because a lot of the interns or paralegals that join Zurafik, when they work with the partners and the partners are very impressed with them, for them to join as a pupil was very easy, because we already know how their work ethics are, how hardworking they are. So this would definitely be an added bonus. So yes.
So
If I
Hisham,
may add, our sister Amelia. Okay, okay. Brother and sister, if you notice what our sister Amelia explained before, okay, she's a true example of empowering women. Okay, I like how she described and explained to all of you, my brother and sister. Okay, because it is very, very, we call it as practical sharing, okay, which was given by our sister Emilia. But what I like to stress here that when it comes to as a student, okay, you must grab the opportunity to take whatever the advantages as student, to gain whatever the uh, moment or whatever the opportunity given by the faculty, especially ICOL, because ICOL is one of the established, we call it as a legal school in Malaysia. Okay, with having that kind of spirit, you must be proud as IIM student as well, where you are chosen to be in this university and to learn and read laws. Okay, because a lot of people there, even some of the university, when they came out and they graduated from university, unfortunately the degree was not recognized and unable to practice. So take this advantage, learn as much as you can, and then build your skills as well. Okay, and then I believe that uh, sister Emilia has given what the advantages by having those kind of we call it equipped skill, which has been given by the firms, for example, by the Zographic itself. Okay, so you can imagine how the law and technology is start developing from here. Okay, that's all I would add.
thank you to Sir Hisham and Miss Amelia. So my conclusion from the first question is like actually this MCO is just a blessing in disguise, right? Because we got lots of advantages and
Agreed.
opportunity. Yes, lots of advantages and opportunity. Maybe we cannot see each other physically, but
Yeah.
in this MCO, we got free webinars, talk, clubhouse, and lots of activity that maybe will be held freely to the student so that we can get much more information and knowledge to us. So thank you, Miss Emilia and Sir Hisham. Next, we move to the fifth questions. Um, so as a student, oftenly I search on Google about a job that promises high salary, and one of the job that which pop up in that website must be a lawyer. So because of that, many of us aspire to be a lawyer because the paid job salary and it be a sentiment to our society. My question to Sir Hisham is, does graduating from law school guarantee us a bright future, especially after the pandemic of COVID-19?
Okay, thank you, Sister Hanan. I like your DJ style tu. Apa nama tu? Microphone eh? Oh, microphone. Okay, okay.
Yes, my mic.
Yes, my mic. My mic, your mic. Okay. So macam ni. Okay, this is how I will explain this. Okay. First of all, you mentioned about high salary, and then of course, high salary comes with high responsibility. Okay, you cannot deny it. So how you determine how responsibility is high or low? Of course, you need to know what the quality of work and quality of the, we call it as trust or amanah been given. When you are being appointed by your client, you are given the trust, okay, to present the case before the court, okay, to test the law, whatever happened, whatever provided by the law, okay. It is not an issue that win or loss carry much. There is a second issue, but the thing is how you use and you extend the law to present to the court on the issue which has been brought before the court. Okay, so you must take for example, if you want to be a prime minister, and then you saw the salary rate, for example, 50,000 per month. Of course, there is a high salary, okay, because it comes with big trust to administer the country. Same like advocate and solicitors or lawyer, okay, whatever lawyer which is convincing or corporate, okay, criminal, Sharia and litigation. It comes with all with the high responsibility, and then later it will come with high salary. It will come together at the end of the day. You don't have to worry. You can start from the low, and then I think from time to time you improve yourself. At the end of the day, people will come and chase for your service. Okay, that's how it works. When you just do it for the sake of the money, I believe that it is will not be the fruitful result which is expected to for the client. Okay, so uh, the question of whether it is bright future or not, especially after the pandemic, okay, I would disagree with you, because currently, from my reading, the 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 guarantee or the bright future would be okay. You must remember technology stream. Okay, for example, technology and then whatever communicated related and also with the technology during this pandemic. That is the high demand, which has been uh, written in the articles. Okay, but you must bear in mind, every people will have problem. Okay, when they have problem, they will look for solution. When they look for solution, they we seek for legal advice, which is lawyer. So I would say that problem will arise every day. Okay, problem will arise every day. So when there is a problem, there is a lawyer needed. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, you tak boleh cakap you tak boleh miskin lah macam tu lah, you tak boleh tak ada makan lah. Okay, at least you mestilah ada something, because you might expect people ada masalah. People will have face with problem every day. So lawyer dealing with problems, okay, lawyer dealing with the client's issue, okay, so that how it will bring the matter. And then for your own reference and for your information, advocate and solicitor or lawyer is one of the we call it as the longest tradition of the profession in the world, okay, historically. Okay, so until now, I'm not sure, because from my knowledge, until now, there is none of the lawyer which is unable to have a, you know, a meal in front of him. Instead, they are living cakap seadanya lah. At least from that point of time, you have something to eat, you have something to feed. Okay, that is we call it as syukur lah kan. You nak apa lagi kan? Kalau ada lebih, kalau tak ada lebih pun syukur lah. Okay, tapi but for your question whether it is bright future or not, okay, it is not 100% bright future, but there is opportunity there to grab and to be taken. Okay, because you must remember that as IIUM student, you must remember that money, worldly enjoyment is not our priority. Okay, because whenever we seek for more rich or more we got wealth, and then we tend to forget where are we now. Okay, because this is been mentioned by the Prophet. Okay, where the messenger of Allah, Nabi Muhammad SAW, said that when, for example, when an Adam had a fully of gold, he would want to have two valleys. Okay, nothing fills his mouth but the dust of the grave. Yet Allah will repent to whatever repents to him. Okay, which is the Prophet said that if we look for something which is in terms of worldly enjoyment, we will encourage to look for more and more and more and more. At the end of the day, you will forget where you are, and then you will forget where you're coming from. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that having a rich or having a big money is not your main issue. At the end of the day, you must perform the duty, and then you must deliver the trust which has been given to show that you are a good and a credible lawyer and advocates and solicitors. Okay, Sister Hanan, I return back to you.
If I may add, I think it also depends on your hard work as well. I know of people or lawyers who branch out on their own and are doing so successful, but they work really, really hard to achieve that. So it's being a lawyer, like what Brother Hisham mentioned, is a very heavy duty, right? So you need to make sure that you put in your best foot forward. You need to make sure that your clients' interests are safeguarded. So all this, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time. So as long as you invest, I'm pretty sure the outcome will be great.
Thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. Yeah, I like what Sir Hisham said just now. High salary comes with high responsibility. And Miss Amelia said that being a lawyers, we're having a very heavy duty, and we must put our best effort and time to invest for our future. So I think for all students, law students, no regret with studying in this legal field, because it brings such a very great new experience for us, being a very exclusive person in this society. So thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. Next, we proceed to actually our last question in forum today. So I think this is a very hot question, which is we wondering about the current situation now. So Miss Amelia, what we as a foundation student should prepare from now so that we will be ready to face future challenges in the legal profession?
Thank you. Very good question. Okay. I suppose a lot can happen 4 to 5 years from now, considering that you're all foundation students, right? Long way to go, but okay. So might be too early to suggest definite answers, but what I would recommend is, of course, number one, study hard and study smart, like I mentioned, the IQ and EQ, and also the upskilling. I also mentioned that, right? There'll be a bit of a repetition, but I think I'll elaborate just a little bit more. So, despite all the technical training in law that you receive from your foundation as well as your degree, if a lawyer doesn't possess soft skills to network, to build meaningful relationships, it'll be harder for that particular lawyer to progress, right? Especially professionally. So there is a need for you to have a continuous professional development. So upskill yourselves. Go for all these talks. Go for all these online courses. Of course, it's not a regulatory requirement, right? It doesn't say anywhere in the LPA that you need to upskill yourselves. You need to go for all these courses. No. But employers will definitely see it as an asset because that would add value to you. So that would also ensure maximum ROI, return on investment. So let's just say if you go for all these courses, you are able to apply it, then obviously the employer will be very happy because they get the returns as well, right? Especially when it comes to repeat clients. Clients will always go back to lawyers that they like, lawyers that they are very comfortable with. So if they have all these skills that other lawyers don't, definitely an added value, right? Number 3 is technological skills, right? So future lawyers will be expected to demonstrate a certain level of technological skills, right? So you have to be able to adapt to video conferencing. So like probably StreamYard. Is this called StreamYard, right? So StreamYard I probably wouldn't know how to do it, right? But if you as students in the future, you're so used to doing this, later on in law firms, you can teach the partners, right? So again, this will also be an added value to you. So yes, technology is the future. Number 3 is commercial awareness. Very, very, very important. It has always been important pre-pandemic, but it has become even more important post-pandemic or the current pandemic. So lawyers need to constantly remain up to date. Changes of the law, the regulation, the legislation, they need to be able to analyze how these changes affect their clients, right? Their industries, and you have to be able to offer the best legal solution. So understanding the global trends is very important, right? Understanding your clients is also important. So these combination together would make you an excellent lawyer. So how do you do this? As I mentioned just now, keep yourself up to date with the general issues. Read on the news articles available from various law firms, actually, especially the big law firms. You'll be able to see them churning out articles every now and then. So, yes, everybody can be a lawyer, but not everyone can be a good lawyer. Just like if you go to a doctor, you want them to operate on you, you probably go to the best doctor because you know your life is at stake. Same goes for clients. Their business is at stake. Their company is at stake. They'll probably go to a lawyer that they trust will be able to offer them the best legal solution. And lastly, I would think is diversification and versatility. So this might not be applicable to everybody. There are some lawyers who have niche areas. That means they specialize in a particular area, and this more often than not applies to bigger law firms because bigger law firms offer full service. So full service here means a variety of practice areas. So you offer conveyancing, corporate real estate, right? Litigation, energy, utilities, banking and finance, you name it. So some of the lawyers, they are already experts in that particular area. But as a lawyer, in general, you would have to be able to diversify when it comes to your legal knowledge, especially when it comes to things that are very relevant now. So for example, during the MCO, you realize that employment law was one of the hot topics or one of the hot issues that were very relevant. So retrenchment, employee rights, and then there came the issue of whether vaccination is mandatory, right, for employees. What can you do if an employee refuses to be vaccinated? So all these were all very hot topics. So if you as a lawyer, you're not able to diversify, you're not able to be relevant, then you will be left behind. So in order to remain relevant, you have to make sure that you always diversify yourself, make sure you keep up to date. and basically be able to adapt. Oh, and lastly, sorry, this is actually one of the most important thing, and I really regret not doing it early on. So please take my advice, law students, my dear law students, or students in general. This applies to anyone. Personal branding and marketing skills, right? A lawyer must focus on building their own personal brand, right? You need to earn the client's trust, right? The public's trust as well. So in order to attract clients, you have to work on the ability to build fruitful relationships with your clients, with the public, without, well, since it's pandemic, I suppose without using the traditional method of face to face, right? So how do you build connections? Have online meetings, write articles, take part in research, what do you call it, research papers, make good use of your social media, honestly, like LinkedIn, for example. I know some people are they're not very keen on LinkedIn because they see it as a platform for show off, and some go to the extent as saying that it's bad for mental health. But that's what it is. LinkedIn is where you show off your work, right? So if you've done a good job, you won a case, post it for the world to see so that they know, okay, this lawyer just won a case. Great, fantastic. And then you keep seeing the same lawyer, just like advertising, right? You see advertisements, oh, lapanya hari ni puasa, sana you tengok KFC. Sekejap ni, okay, I'm going to go get KFC after that. Same thing. Once you see a lawyer always posting their wins, their achievements, you trust that this is a good lawyer, right? So you have to do that starting from now. And you don't even have to be a lawyer in order to start your personal branding, actually. My biggest regret is also not establishing connections right from my foundation years. I was a nerd, like a true blue nerd. You can see me with my glasses, with my sneakers, and my, my hands full of documents and papers and notes. I was such a nerd. And I refused to talk to people. I was just one of those people that just hung out with the girls. I never really hung out with the guys, probably because of restrictions as well. But most of the time, I just kept to myself. So I do feel that having connections, building connections from foundation years would really, really help. You never know. Sister Hanan might be a judge one day, right? I mean, another one of your friends might probably work in a big bank, right? An established bank. Another friend will work in a law firm. So your friend in the banking might give you work as a lawyer, right? And then, of course, a judge won't be able to be pick and choose, right? Pilih kasih. But with these connections that you build, you'll be able to see fruit come to fruition at the end of your degree, and you build this connection and this lifetime friendship. That's all from me.
So Hisham, do you want to add anything?
If I may add, Miss Amelia, I would like to seek your permission.
Why? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So like this. Okay. What Sister Amelia shared with us, very very insightful. Okay, I would say that because she's been giving what is coming from her experience, and then I'm giving from my own perspective, from my experience. Of course, I don't practice in the same legal firm with Miss Amelia, so she has the advantages or the opportunity from there, and then perhaps the opportunity I don't have. So what has been said by Sister Amelia is 100% correct. Okay, so you have to have a dynamism, we call it. Okay, you have a dynamic style, okay, which is important in future. I don't say that for example, Melex, for example, currently 200 students, for example, all become lawyer. No, not necessary. Okay, but if you were destiny or you were destined to be a lawyer or advocate or solicitor, you must remember whatever which Miss Sister Amelia informed you tonight, that those are skills, those are tips, those are sharing are important in your future. Of course, you still have long way to go, but you don't expect things come easily. it must gain hard work, okay, and it must come with good effort as well. So I think that's for my ad as for now.
Thank you, Sir Amelia and Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham for very
Yeah, Josh
interesting.
Hanan tersasul ya.
Sorry for a very interesting and great answers from our panelists today. So, personal branding and marketing style for ourselves is very important. That's how we show ourselves in the society so that people acknowledge us. And to all my foundation students, friends, let's us establish a good connection between us so that we can use it in the future purpose. So that
That's correct. That's correct.
so
So,
um
um,
we end with
we
the
end with
questions. Thank you for our panelists today. It's not only compact but also answers to the issues that we want to discuss today, related to the topic legal career post COVID-19 pandemic. So now I think we can move on to the Q&A sessions. Miss Emilia and Sir Hisham, are you ready for the Q&A session?
We were
we
born
were
ready.
born ready.
Yeah.
Jangan
Yeah.
bagi soalan susah lah. Saya soalan senang okey je lah. Tak susah bagi Miss Amelia.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's read
Let's
here.
read here.
The first question
The first
from
question.
Haris Azfar. What is the main difference between government lawyers versus private firms lawyers, especially now in the pandemic? So, who would want to answer this question?
You mean a public prosecutor versus someone in private practice? I think that's what Harith
Yes.
means. Well, I've never been a public prosecutor, so I wouldn't be able to 100%, I suppose, answer that question. But I think the difference is in terms of stability. I think I'll just answer that, right? Stability is in the pandemic. Um, private in private practice, right? It all depends on the clients, right? If you, as a public prosecutor, you work for the government, so there will always be cases. There will always be on just ongoing things that you have to do. For private practice, the issue was if you have no clients, means you have no income. So during the pandemic, that was very, very tough. We had to make sure that we survived. We had to make sure that there was no salary cuts to the lawyers, and tough lah. So you need to bill for the hours. So that is one of the main difference. I think in terms of the practice is also quite different. I think in terms of private practice, you get to choose what you want to do, what you want to specialize in. Of course, you get to choose what you want to do when it comes to being a public prosecutor, or you want to, go to AGs. But at the end of the day, there are different segments to it. I think there's like the research department, and there's the shipping department. You get to choose that, but I suppose it's limited. I don't know in terms of government. Maybe Brother Hisham can explain
Explain
or
or
elaborate.
elaborate.
Just that because for easy comprehensive for easy and comprehensive understanding, I would say that the government lawyer is you defend the government stand or whatever the claim against the government. Okay, that is your stand. Unlike the private practice, okay, it is normally it is the one who make the claim against the government normally. Okay, some circumstances, and then you can say that government lawyers uh, it can be two in civil and in criminal. For civil, we call Senior Federal Counsel, okay, SFC, which is dealing with matters in non criminal issue. But for criminal side, we call them as public prosecutor or deputy public prosecutor. Okay, that's the different things. Okay, so salary terms and discussion of the wages is another discussion. But in terms of the background, it is same as the law student. And then at the end of the day, which parties are you representing is make the different ways. Okay, so I mentioned before, from the government is defend the rights of the government, or we call it as the stakeholder. And for the private practice is more to the individual rights, okay, and then the company rights, or the artificial rights whatsoever, okay, you name it, okay, including provided under federal constitution.
Thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. I guarantee that the answers really answers the question from Bro Haris Asfar just now. So let's proceed to the next question from Bro Ziad Abukori. I'm sorry, but what is the example of marketing for administering lawyer firm? I mean, it must be different than marketing for products like food, beauty, product, etc.
Definitely different. I'll take this one if you don't
Yes.
mind. So it's definitely different because when you market for food or beauty products, you have to look at your target audience, right? So if it's food, is it spicy? Is it what type of food is it? So for us, we need to see what type of clients do we want. Are you targeting big companies? Are you targeting individuals? What practice area is that? So for marketing, when it comes to lawyers or law firms, I would say you need to focus on, let's just say you want to do banking and finance, right? So you need to target the banks, right? So you probably need to write articles on banking issues or the banking legislations, and you probably need to speak to attend events like Islamic finance, right? Islamic finance events. You socialize from there, and then you market yourself. Oh, I'm a lawyer doing banking and finance. Does your bank or does your company have any issues, etc., etc.? So you have to look at your target audience. You have to look at the practice area. There's a lot of factors that goes into the marketing part, but basically you have to put yourself out there. Personal branding again, or firm branding for that matter.
So Hisham, do you want to add
You want
anything?
to add anything?
Okay, just to give a clear picture about the marketing terms which been using from the beginning. Okay, I agree that it is not the same like we market for the products. Okay, because we as a lawyer, when you come to the fourth year, you will learn a subject we call it as legal practice or legal profession something. Okay, and then you will come across a legal profession act. In that act, there is specific law and ethics and rules regarding how the lawyer should done the marketing style. Okay, it is not solely you say, okay, this is advocate solicitors, I'm a lawyer. Okay, this is not the same like you sell products. Okay, even you want to make an we call it as advertisement board or a signboard for your firm. There's specific fonts, there's specific size, there's a specific we call it color. Okay, it's not the same. If you notice from if you come to the town and then somewhere else and then you see advocate and solicitor and you see black and white only, there's no red, blue, yellow, green, there's no such color of that. Okay, so it shows that our profession as advocate and solicitors are high standard. Okay, it is different from the other profession. It is as exclusive. So when it is already exclusive, we have our own act, legal profession act. Okay, how come we jeopardize all those things with the kind of posting which is I think is not represent the exclusivity of the advocate and solicitor itself. Okay, so it ruined back all the reputation which has been established few thousand years ago, decades ago. Okay, so that how the law protects or put the lawyer at some place which is higher than I would not say that it is a sacred profession, but it is standard. Okay, this is standard itself. For example, you said doctor. Okay, you imagine doctor is very someone yang good. Okay, someone yang we call it precise. Okay, doctor. So the same with the lawyer. Okay, I would not say that lawyer is 100% is confirm successful. Okay, I would not say that ada je lawyer yang tak berjaya because cheating duit clients. Okay, fraud. Okay, benda-benda semua tu. Okay, which tak boleh berlaku lah. Especially you are from IIUM students, the torch bearer of the ummah. Okay,
Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you for the answer from Miss Emilia and Sir Hisham. Yeah, marketing and branding ourselves is very important. Target audience is target our audience is very important too, and put yourself be different from others. Okay, next for the next question from Ku Muhammad Hafiz bin Ku Husni. Is it okay for a law degree graduate to pursue master in economy? I am thinking to learn new aspect of knowledge to complete the law knowledge maybe. Thank you in advance.
Shall I answer this first? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see it as an issue. There is absolutely no problem if you want to further your studies. If you want to do it in economy, by all means, go ahead. Knowledge is always good. Seeking knowledge is something that is very valuable, right? So no issue. But I will highlight a concern, okay? And it's a very real concern, and I'm going to be very frank with you. When we take on pupils, if you're planning on practicing, okay, Ku Muhammad Hafiz, if you're planning on practicing, when we take on personally, I mean, in the law firm, when we take on students, if you take too long for studies and then if you work elsewhere, it'd be very difficult to con- I suppose apply for pupillage after that, because we were probably looking at the younger students who just finished, because taking in older candidates often pose a lot of problems for us. A bit more degil, that's what I realized, because you're older, right? You don't really respect the younger ones. And those are the problems that we have come across. So good, yes, if you want to continue your studies, I would say go ahead, but try not to take too long. Like you take your masters and then you take your PhD, and then after that, you work somewhere else before you want to practice. That would be my advice. um, Honestly, one of the things that I regret is actually not taking my masters, right? I was actually offered, but I didn't, because I just wanted to do pupillage, and then now I'm just too old to do it and too tired as well. So yes, no problem, Ku
Yes,
Muhammad
no
Hafiz,
problem,
no
Muhammad
problem.
Hafiz, no problem.
Hola.
So Hisham, do you want to add anything
To
at
add
that
anything at
point?
that.
Okay, about the question, you want to change your path. We say slightly take another route for a while. Okay, I will say that there's no issue because law is wide. Okay, this is wide enough. Okay, you can cover every aspects. Okay, ICT you can cover, biotech you can cover, nanotechnology you can cover. Okay, because I think there's no issue because at the end of the day you need to know where is your direction, what you want to be in future. How come you study throughout the years, 20 years, 30 years, and then you don't have target? Okay, you must put your target first. As student, you must, for example, 8 years, you said, I want to be like this. Okay, and then I want to be at the end of the day, I want to graduated, and I want to practicing or in house. Okay, or become academic or follow Sir Ridwan. Okay, so you can decide on your future career, but how you want to go there is also important. You need to strategize. You need to get opinion from the senior, or you get opinion from your lecturer as well. Okay, your madam, your your sir in the faculty. Okay, because they are been on the same field before you. Okay, so you need to take guidance from them. Okay, you need to seek counseling or whatsoever, just bro talk or sis talk whatsoever. Okay, you can say whatever it is, as long as you get what's the future will come to you. Okay, so I think there's no issue. You need to know where's your direction at the end of the day.
Yeah, and actually
Yeah,
having
and actually
a
having
master in
a
economy
master in
probably
economy probably
will also add
will
value
also
if you
add.
work in house or to companies as well.
Thank you, Miss Emilia and Sir Hisham. So, seeking knowledge is very valuable in our life. First, everyone, we should set our goals. Next, we should plan our strategy to reach to the goals that we have set. So, yeah, No, so Muhammad Hafiz, you can proceed your master in economy. Next question, uh, from Sister Anna. Sir and Miss, may I ask, can we settle the cases through online if this pandemic did not end, or we need to settle it in court too? Sir Hisham.
Okay. Okay. Anawan. The question is coming from Anawan. Okay. So like this. Okay. Actually, the court is ready to go with online and physical, but subject to the government rules and regulation. Okay. That's the we call it as restriction from the beginning. Okay. Uh, what from my reading, WHO we say that this pandemic will be extended for another 1 year. That was yesterday report I read from the news. Okay, so coming back in Malaysia, the government already opened the sector. Okay, which currently most of the states are phase 3 and phase 4. Okay, normally phase 3 and phase 4, the court will resume, which is depends on the direction given by the chief judge of Malaya, which is Tunku Maimun. Okay, so according to her, our CJ, she allowed the court to resume as for now for the phase 3 and phase 4. Okay, that's how it comes. But I believe that if there is another outbreak, okay, perhaps we pray that it is not, okay, then we may expect that the court, especially the civil court, is ready to go for the online. Okay, because from my view, Sharia as well, they are integrating the same system like the civil. Because from the Sharia perspective, I noticed that the court already adapt with the situation, and then it helps to cater those issue, which is the we call as unsettled case and backlog of cases. Okay, so I think it's not forever online, but perhaps in case in the event where the client is outside, and then the court after this will take it as is a norm. Okay, previously it is strange where we do a virtual online virtual trial, but after this I believe when the client is outside, even somewhere else which is not within the court room, the court will accept it as a norm because it happens before. Okay, provided you make application whatsoever lah. Okay, you write into the court. Okay, so I think that will enlighten our sister Anawan. All right.
Miss Emilia, do you want to add anything?
No, I think Sir Hisham, brother Hisham has wrapped it up nicely.
Okay, thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. Clear crystal about the issue that have been asked by Sister Anna Wan. Next, we proceed to the next question from Sister Nor Alia Batrisha binti Shamsuri. Is it true if we become a lawyer or someone in the legal area, we are one step closer to hell? It's actually a stereotype that people have on legal practitioners. Yes. Who want to answer this? Very hot question.
Sister Amelia, you go ahead.
Me? Man. I used. I mean, I never believed this, but I think growing up, whenever I said, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer," and then all the makcik and the pakciks will say, "Oh, nanti you masuk neraka, one step in neraka." It always makes me so upset because it's not true. It is absolutely not true. Why would we have lawyers then? Who wants to be a lawyer if you're basically one step already in hell if you step into this profession? No. Again, I think as exactly what Brother Hisham has mentioned, this profession is a very special profession. You have responsibilities that is very, very heavy on you. And I think it's a very noble profession to be in. You take care of individuals, even if it's companies for that matter, you still take care of their interests, right? you give people chances. So this is what my boss always tell me. She does employment law, right? And she told me once, she used to work for another different law firm before she joined Zurafiq, and she used to work with employees, meaning if there is a case against an employee, let's just say the employee was unlawfully dismissed, for example. So in that law firm, she would actually defend the rights of the employee. Then when she joined Zurafiq, we often defend companies, right? So in a way, people said you join the dark side, right? But she told me this, and which I really, really appreciate. And until today, I remember. She always says this: I make a difference in the employees when I defend the companies, because I can tell the company, look, it's such a small matter. Why do you want to dismiss without paying this person any money, or paying anything, any outcome or whatsoever? I can change and just say, oh, you can just dismiss, pay a small sum, and then leave them alone. So her role as a lawyer for the companies can help these employees indirectly. So what you do with your role as a lawyer determines whether or not you go to hell or you go to you heaven. So if you want to defend, even if you want to defend a murderer, you don't know the whole story, right? Everyone deserves a right to be defended. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Uh, of course, if you take bribes, you cheat your clients, then that's a completely different story lah. So I just have to say good luck to you if and when you die. So yes, that's it for me.
So Risham, do you want to add anything?
Okay, just a little addition. Okay, our Judge Hanan. Okay, like this. When the question from Alia. Okay, uh, going to hell whatsoever. Okay, uh, first you go back to your integrity. Okay, what are you doing? That's how demonstrate or picture who you are. And then second, if you read from the story of Sahabah Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, okay, previously there was a case where one of the Sahabah, there's no term of lawyer whatsoever, tapi the way he practiced was as a lawyer, okay, where he represent one of the Sahabah in the case where if I'm mistaken, diat whatsoever. Okay, you may check with with the hadith, but the Sahaba represent one of the Sahaba to speak before the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to present the case. At the end of the day, there's hadith about that. Okay, Sayyidina Ali, and if I'm not mistaken, that point of time was Sayyidina Ali who are acting as a lawyer. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, you may check back. Okay, so at the end of the day, you must see that it is a profession which is recognized by Islam from the beginning. Okay, there's no issue of hair whatsoever. Okay, and then you must imagine, for example, if all the Muslim lawyer in the world doesn't want to be a lawyer, who wants to defend the Islam? Okay, who wants to defend the Ummah? You are the torchbearer of the Ummah. How come you cannot be a legal armor of the Ummah? Okay, how logic is that? Okay, if you rely on the non-Muslim to represent on the case for Muslim, it is not a good portrait at the end of the day. Okay, so we must have a lawyer which is from the Muslim, okay, and then practice good Muslim, and then become a lawyer to defend the Muslim, okay, to defend the Islam according to the federal constitution, okay, and then according to the enactment or laws which was passed by the parliament or by the state. And then you are the protector at the end of the day to speak on behalf of the Ummah. Okay, so you must imagine that. And then third, when you practice as a legal, we call it as criminal side. Okay, in the criminal side, of course, sometimes you are representing the accused. You must put the best defense available in law. Okay, I'm not saying that you create something which is beyond the law. Of course, for criminal, they have the criminal procedure code, they have the penal code whatsoever. You must produce and give forth the best evidence or the best defense for your client before the judge to decide. At the end of the day, the judge will decide. It's not you to decide. You are just presenting before the judge. Okay, the power to decide is for the judge. If you're not happy with the judge, you can appeal to the court. Okay, that's the right for the accused to do so. This is provided under the law, under the federal constitution, for the appeal until exhausted by the law. Okay, so you need to know the system, and then I think you can appreciate that when you start learning more and read more about the process in the Malaysian legal system future. Okay, and then finally, uh, go back to your sir or madam. Okay, you can ask Sir Ridwan. Okay, you can ask Madam Nina. You can ask Madam Adiba. Okay, what's the direction of the end of the day? Because they are the most closest person you may interact as for now, because they are your your guidance and your teacher, and then they portray a good example for you, and then you may take that values from them. Okay, so I think that's all from me. There's nothing have to add. Go back to our judge.
Thank you, Sinsha and Miss
Sorry,
Amelia.
Miss Amelia.
So for the
So
answers
for the
uh,
answers
on Sister Alia
on Sister
questions,
Alia creation,
the answer is not true. It based on yourself, how you represent yourself. So I take one vital point from Sir Hisham. We must represent our Muslim society. If not us, then who will speak on the behalf of the Ummah? So let's do this. So move forward to
so move forward to
our
our
next question
next question.
from Bro Hanafi. Hi, may I ask on the best qualities that a law firm would search or look at when searching for a possible intern employee at the firm?
Okay, I'll take this.
Yes.
Um, I just an FYI to everyone. I also do recruitment when it comes to the firm, right? So I go through a lot of CVs every single day. This peak season, my God, I will probably go to like 20 to 30 a day. So this is a very, very good question, Hanafi. So, what we look out for law firms in general, I would say definitely we look out for IQ. There will be a minimum requirement when it comes to your CGPA. Let's just put it that way. But on top of that, we also look at EQ, right? So EQ here, like I mentioned, is it can be participation in volunteer events and leadership skills. So if you are MC for a program, that shows that you took an initiative, to not go beyond your legal, your degree, right? Your knowledge in terms of the law. You also went beyond to MC certain programs. You are president of MILAX, for example. You participated in mooting, debating competitions, client counseling competitions, you name it. If you have all of this, more often than not, kita tutup satu mata when it comes to IQ, because we understand if you have a high CGPA, more often than not, we see you lack in terms of EQ. Your activities are lacking. If you are very, very, very active when it comes to extracurricular, right, your CGPA will be take a hit. So we understand that. So we take this into account. Of course, the best ones are if you have both lah, right? You're smart and you have all these activities. Then you're like the perfect candidate. So my advice is go. Studies is not the final answer to everything. Even if you are a first class, if you cannot speak, you cannot communicate, you cannot string a single sentence, there's absolutely no point juga. We won't take you in. If you have someone who's an all-rounder, right? Someone whose CGPA is not bad, someone who has leadership skills, play sports, because sports also shows teamwork, right? You're a team player. So all these things has different reflections and it adds value to you. So yes.
So Hisham?
If I look for the candidate, okay, normally what the qualities I'm looking first, CGPA for me is not issue, okay, but I'm looking another phase of life. Okay, university life is different thing, and then the work life or employment life is different thing. Okay, normally I will find someone who wants to learn, who wants to improve themselves. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and then whether they are smart or we call it as a slow learner is another issue. But as long as they will have the willpower to go further, I will appreciate that. That's the most skill which I appreciate when the candidate looking for job opportunity or for the we call it as chambering whatsoever, or we call it as attachment. Okay,
Privilege.
that's
Yes.
important thing, privilege. Okay, and then another thing which I'm looking is honesty. Okay, honesty. Okay, and honesty is very important, especially for me, which currently my firm I have three employees which is working with me. uh, I don't regulate their time. For example, they have court session in the morning. Okay, it's up to you to settle the case, to go to the court, and then to go whatsoever. Okay, but I'm looking is honesty. In case something happen in the court, and then you must, okay, whatever the outcome, and then must be correct. And if she tries or he tries to avoid anything which is beyond my knowledge and beyond the information being given, that is we call dishonest. Okay, so that's why I'm looking some two of the criteria to be considered. All right.
Actually, if you don't mind me adding also, it there I also realize, I think sometimes when you're first class, right, you tend to have a certain ego with you as well. And some of these first class students, right, when they come in, they don't want to do photocopying work. This is beyond me, I'm a first class student, so why should I do photocopying work? But you don't realize that sometimes you learn things like that. You photocopy a case, sometimes you will probably read the case. You photocopy a submission, you probably be reading the submission, so you're learning. It's an opportunity for you. Of course, you don't have to do photocopying every day lah. Then they're basically taking advantage of you. If I can share, there's this one lawyer. I think he was a pupil. Now he actually applied to the firm. His credentials didn't make the cut like generally, but he was such a nice, polite boy. He called the firm a few times and he was very polite about it. Like, hi, may I inquire my application, etc., etc. And I think he called like 3 times. And because he was so polite, myself and the partner then we were like, why don't we just give this person, a shot, an interview? And he got in. He got in and he was retained and he got to be a lawyer. So it goes to show that this goes a long way, putting aside your ego, being nice, being polite, and all these other qualities apart from just IQ.
Thank you, Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. So, uh, we must excel just not in IQ but also in EQ, also self qualities. From Sir Hisham just now, first is the spirit to learn and gain more knowledge in our life, and second, the value of honesty. So I think we can move on to the next question from brother Ishaq Najmi. Hi, may I ask, realistically, do we spend more time in court or just doing paperwork and meeting clients? So, Sir Hisham?
Hisham.
Okay, so Ishaq pula, brother Ishaq. Okay, this is how it works. From the question I read, okay, uh, if you want to spend more time in court, you can be ulat. Okay, you know ulat? Ulat is touting. Okay. Kalau you nak jadi ulat, you boleh spend time dekat court banyak lah. Okay, ulat ni, touting ni, how it works, dia macam normally in criminal case, dia cari clients. Okay, tapi jokes aside lah, okay, jokes aside. But from the question, depends on what area of practice you are doing. Okay, if you are litigator, you spend more time in court, and then you need to divide your time to do paperwork, prepare for tomorrow, read case law, do some researches, okay, and then discussion, meeting with clients. You need to divide your time. But if you do conveyancing, okay, most of the time you are in the office. Okay, you're dealing with the land office, you're dealing with the runner, you're dealing with the LHTN stamping issue, and then all those kind of assessment which is provided under the statutory. Okay, uh, it depends on where is your direction of the practice. If you're a corporate lawyer, you tend to do more drafting and then meetings. Okay, you do more discussions. The location depends whether in the office, in hotel, depends on your client. Okay, so beside of having that, it portrays that you must have a good conscience of health. Okay, you must be fit, you must be good in health. Okay, if you are do for example litigator, okay, litigation, normally different court different style. For example, some court have staircase, some court doesn't have lift. Okay, you need to up climb the hill for the staircase until the fourth floor. Okay, and it requires a lot of energy and effort. Okay, so it depends also what is your type of practice to decide on the question. Okay, which I think I answered.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
don't have
I think I
anything
don't
else
have
to add.
anything else to add.
It's basically exactly what Brother Hisham said. If you're a litigator, then obviously you'll spend a lot more time in court. If you're an arbitrator, then you probably go to arbitration at AIAC, right? If you're corporate, then you probably deal a lot in drafting, due diligence, and all that.
Yeah, it's very depends on type of our practice. So yeah, clear crystal, and I understand very well. Uh, we can move to the next question from Bro Ku Muhammad Hafiz bin Kusni again. Can the panelists share their sweet and bitter experience being a law student until reach the career life? So, who would want to share first? Miss Amelia or
Okay,
Hisham?
I will start.
Okay.
Let me think. Well, I think as a law student, I have built connections and friendships that last until today. My best friend is actually from UIA, from the same batch. Um, and then, we maintain that relationship all the way to until today, even as both of us lawyers, and now she went in-house. So those are the lifelong relationships and friendships that we have had, right? And I think in the firm as well, I like the work culture there. I get along with everyone. Everyone's generally very nice. They have an open door policy where if you have any questions, back when I was a student, I had so many questions. I was one of those annoying people that were like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Where do you research this? Right? I asked a lot of questions, and never once was I turned down or told off. Right? Um, and I think there's also a certain satisfaction if, let's just say, for me, because I deal a lot of students and I deal with the management most of the time, there's a lot of satisfaction when you do a job well, right? They give you a pat on the back and say good job, and you made a difference in someone's life or a company's life, or any person. You made an impact on their life. Bitter, also equivalent. I have had my shares of down days where I was really stressed out, burned out. Um, One thing about the legal profession is it will take a toll on you. I realized that once you reach third or fourth year, because you are giving your 110%, you tend to burn out. But if you persevere, somehow, if you pass that third and fourth year, you stay in practice for a very long time. That always happens. So yes, it's a little bit of both. There are days where I love what I do. I love my job. I absolutely love coming to work. But there are days when I just don't want to get up. I don't want to face the world. I just want to sleep in. Yeah, so I suppose those are the sweet and bitter experience that I have. If I have anything else, I'll add on after Brother Hisham.
So, Hisham?
Hisham?
sharing. Just sharing for you, my brother, as well. Yeah. Okay. Uh, for me, this the sweet moment in university life is pertaining to before the exams. Okay, you will gather with your friends, having discussions 2 3 days before the exam, and then we share notes, and then we try to answer questions. We do group discussions. Okay, that was my sweet moment. Okay, because my time during the university time, uh, I'm not actively involved in mooting whatsoever. Okay, but I involved in another. We call it as soft skill development. We call it as MRC. Okay, Mahalah Representative Council. And then I recall the moment where we managed to organize many programs for our hostel. Instead, we went to China together. Okay, and then I think that was interesting. And then we go for retreat. Okay, we prepare the program and then we execute the program, and then at the end of the day we enjoy the program. Okay, you taste it, the best thing kalau you boleh buat macam tu. I encourage you student of Melex, you involve dekat Melex, okay, you involve dekat whatever the society or association, because at the end of the day when you have your family, after that you working life, and then you enjoy those moments. Okay, and then you see your friends, you meet in court, okay, with your friends, and then you still discussing the same thing, and then you enjoy the moment. Okay, that's what I'm like about it. Okay, that's the sweet life. And then for the bitter things, of course, it's a mixture of feeling. Okay, when you are students, just remember this. Okay, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Okay, whatever the hard comes thing, and then turbulence comes to you. Okay, it makes you strong. Okay, you must be a fighter. Okay, uh, a person depends on how he or she can wake up or rise up after the defeat. Okay, doesn't mean that you are the weakest when you are fail. For example, you fail in first year of first subject, you must back up and you must go forward. Okay, you don't have to be we call it as self-embarrassment or whatever. There's a wisdom behind anything, a blessing in disguise. Okay, and then you still have a long way to go, and I pray for that all of you will success for the Melex and future. Inshallah, you become good whatever area of practice you're choosing. Okay.
Um, Another one I remember, I was actually involved in mock trial. Do you remember? Do you guys still have mock trial, right? Yeah, I was a script writer. I think for 2 mock trials. Best days of my life. Going out sampai malam, kena marah dengan guide. Pergi mana ni? Oh, pergi training. And lain kali jangan balik lambat sangat. Okay, minta maaf. And then tomorrow, same thing. Asyik muka ni je masuk lambat. Mahal lah tu. But yeah, I think these are all very just you build friendships that last forever. Like Brother Hisham said, suddenly you meet in court, like, hey, where you now? What are you doing? So yeah.
Yeah, so the conclusion is the experience, valuable experience is about friendship that we got in the university life. Both Miss Amelia and Sir Hisham. Wow. And actually I'm very excited to hear both of our panelist stories because it's very interesting, and I get that actually the bitter moment that we had in our life just made us be stronger than before. We learned something from that, right? Yeah, and our president said that mock trial akan ada balik, insyaAllah. We wait
Please
for
send
that.
me an invite, please. Thank you.
I would like
Yes,
nominate Sister Hanan for the judge. Okay.
insyaAllah. Okay, so now we have reached to the last question. Where last question. Okay, I'm set a little bit. From Sister Aina Shazwina. May I ask for some recommendation on suitable or relevant elective subjects to choose during degree? Sir Hisham. Do you want to answer
Do you want
this?
to answer
Okay.
this?
For me, it doesn't carry much weight. Okay, as long as you uh, want to learn, you can go and learn. Okay, whatever the subject. Okay, you need to. I think it's no issue, no issue at all, because at the end of the day you still read law. Okay, and then for your information, currently I'm pursuing my master. Some of the subject which I'm choosing now is not been offered during my degree time. That's why I choose for this opportunity, because during my study time, undergrad, I mean, there's no copyright law, trademark law specifically subject about that. Okay, I'm not taking that. And then right now I'm just take the opportunity to complete whatever the knowledge which I think which is beneficial to me, because I'm dealing with commercial issues. Okay, and then we can choose whatever the subject which is I think a lot of elective subject in undergrad, which is very very important. Okay, there's no issue whether it's good or not. Okay, it's how you score is important as well. Okay, where okay, kalau you pilih-pilih tak boleh score pun, you asyik fail je 2-3 sem, tak boleh juga kan, you kena fail lah, kena lulus lah cerita dia. Okay, so baru you boleh ni determine further. And then kalau yang syariah, for syariah practice, okay, you if you in the Sharia line, or you in the Sharia path, okay, just continue. Okay, whatever the whisper coming to you to drop whatsoever, okay, no turning back. Okay, I advise you, I encourage you to go ahead, further your study at the end of the 5th year, because my 5th year was a very sweet moment as well. Starting from for the first year around, I think 50%, and then for the 5th year it becomes 20%. Okay, so the 20% is very exclusive class, and then you enjoy every moment. And then during that time, we appreciate the law, we appreciate the situation, we appreciate the moment. Okay, because that we know that this is our last year for undergrad. Okay, so that's how for the Sharia, okay, you may pursue, and don't ever think, I think there's not a good choice to drop. Okay, inshallah.
If I can
If
add,
I can
I
add,
do
I
feel
do feel
it really depends on
it
your
really depends
interests.
on your
So
so
you choose the elective based on what you're interested in. If you see yourself doing intellectual property, then you go for IP classes. If you're interested in alternative dispute resolutions, go ahead. I took medical law and I did tax law, which is nothing whatsoever with what I'm doing at this particular moment. To be honest, these elective classes, they will teach you the basics. Like it or not, I never took IP when I was in uni, right? Here I am, somehow finding myself doing that, right? So so what you learn during uni will be very basic. When you come out to work, when you do your chambering, your pupillage, right? You will learn again. So it's just to know the basics. It will be very helpful if you know the basics, but eventually when you go out to work in the law firm, right, you will relearn it again anyway. So doesn't make much of a difference. Just maybe choose what is of interest to you. Do a bit of research, read up, and then choose what you feel is interesting to you.
Thank you, Miss Emilia and Sir Hisham. So for the recommendation of elective subjects, go for your interest and do some research, because you will find what you want when you do the research. Without research, you know nothing. So I think um, that's all for the Q&A session. Um, I really sure that all the answers have been answered well by both of our panelists. Thank you so much for the amazing questions from our students of laws, members of the floor. I think the last words and answers from our panelists just now, it also concludes our Lex Forum tonight. I do believe that all participants want to ask more questions, but unfortunately, we could not entertain all of it as we are running out of time. However, Alhamdulillah, we have gained so much knowledge from these 2 hour sessions from the generous and amazing panelists. So, before we end this session, I would like to thank our panelists tonight, Sir Hisham and Miss Amelia. Thank you for spending time with us and sharing a
Pleasure to
lot
be
of
here.
beneficial knowledge with all of us today. May Allah bless your effort and
Effort
grant you
and
with His
grant you
blessing,
with His blessing,
dunya
Amin.
and
Amin.
akhirat.
dunya and akhirat.
Amin.
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 So, for all
So for all
participants,
participants,
take note of each point that have been shared with us today and benefit it for our future career. And inshallah, the golden words from our panelists can motivate us to excel in our studies. I believe all those words from our panelists is just such an eyes opener to us to see what is it there in the legal studies field, not just in university but also in the career. So the Lex Forum has come to the end. Please fill out the attendance link that have been shared in the chat box. Then I think we can end the session with the recitation of Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As. Lastly, Pro Melex Verita Justita et Virtue. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So don't be shy, let's
don't be
share,
shy. Let's
subscribe.
share, subscribe.
Alright, thank you all. See you again. All the best.
Thanks,
Be blessed.
everyone.
Thanks,
Good luck.
everyone. Good luck.
Fighting.
Fighting.
Bye, Sister Amelia. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Yes.
Thanks, Sister Hanan.
Thanks, Sister Hanan.
Welcome.